And are you refreshed? Good. Now what?
I've been studying a lot about feeling appreciation and being in a feeling of appreciation all the time. How do you get into a vibration of appreciation when there's contrast?
Well, there are two things that we want to say right away to you. First and most important is don't ask for it all the time, because as in the previous conversation, when you know what you don't want, you know what you do want. And in our previous conversation, as contrast is helping that problem to grow, the solution is growing too. And so don't give up the benefit of your ability to focus things into better beingness. We talk about step one is ask, contrast helps you do that. Step two is answer, source answers. When you ask, it's given every single time, but it's in a vibrational form. Step three is get into that receptive mode. And step four is get really good at that, which is what you're really talking about here, just becoming so practiced at it that it's easy to be there. But step five is recognizing the value of being back in step one, so that if you are having another contrasting moment, you're not beating up on yourself about it because you know it's part of the process. So appreciation is just such a delicious state to be in. That's why you're wanting to focus there as much as you can. And earlier, we were talking about how you might reach the point where you say, all right, already, enough contrast. I have created a solution that now I want access to. And so then focusing on things that you feel appreciation for is a really good thing. For just a moment, let's talk about another meaning, or really, let's say a true meaning of appreciation. And let's think of it in a fiscal sense. So appreciation is adding more to the value of what it already is. And law of attraction is causing appreciation or more to come of whatever it is that you're focusing upon. And so if a problem is appreciating, then the solution is appreciating. And then it's just a matter of which end of the stick I'm giving my attention to. So one of the things that our physical friends have been explaining to us as we've been playing together over all of these years is that they often want to go right to a positive thought and a rampage of appreciation from a place of really having active in them what they do not want. And not only is it impossible to get there, it's not productive or beneficial to try to goose it up either. And so what we would do is when we find ourselves feeling appreciation, we would focus there longer just for the experience of savoring it more and for the advantage of more momentum happening regarding that. And if we are in a moment feeling negative emotion, we would not amplify it by beating up on ourselves, nor would we work too hard on trying to switch it to a positive thought, because often what happens then is you just give lip service to what you want while you keep compounding what you don't want. And so really what we're saying to you is don't work too hard at this, and you are a natural appreciator. And when you're feeling good, that's when you want to talk more and more about it. And when you're not feeling good, that's when you want to talk and think less and less and less about it. Make sense?
Yeah. Can you explain or help me, when you're in a feeling of appreciation, what does that feel like?
What does it feel like, or what is it? What does it feel like?
What is it, and what does it feel like?
Well, what it is resonance with your inner being. What it is you finding a vibration that is in harmony with what your inner being is thinking and feeling. When you feel those really good feeling emotions, that's you receiving from your source what your source is projecting to you at that moment. When you feel love, that's you resonating with the love that source feels. It's a resonance with the depth and wholeness of who you really are. And it can become more if when you feel it or when you catch a glimpse of it, you deliberately focus there. And that's when you think about why you appreciate it and what other things like it you appreciate. Law of attraction will carry your thoughts into more and more and more. what we're really talking about in everything that we've spoken about here today and beyond, but especially here today, is that you get to choose which direction you point your thoughts. And the more you deliberately are choosing, then the more control you have over this momentum, how big it gets, how long it lasts, how sustaining it is, how practiced you are in it, and therefore how likely you are to return to it again often, how fast you are to recognize it, how aware you are of your own guidance system. So it really is, all of this really is more about what you have done with your thoughts before a manifestation occurs than really what you're doing after it occurs. Because once a manifestation occurs, the proof is already pretty much in the pudding, isn't it? Once a manifestation has occurred, it's got its vibrational footprint already there. And your observation of it is just going to be a continuation of whatever it was. Where if it is your intention to wake up in the morning when your mind is more still already, because momentum has subsided pretty much while you were asleep, and then you deliberately quiet your mind, which stops all resistance, which allows your cork to float up there into that vibration of who you really are, then you can begin to feel early on in your day the resonance of your source. And that resonance of your source before there's much momentum just feels like satisfaction. It feels like well-being. It might even feel like peacefulness and contentment and that sort of thing. But if you do not introduce resistant thought to it, if you're able to stay in that vibrational atmosphere while the momentum builds, then that feeling of well-being can grow to true passion about something, true exhilaration about life, a feeling of invigoration in your body, a feeling of steadiness and certainty and balance, and the feeling of, you said, what does appreciation feel like? Appreciation is a higher momentum of alignment with source. So appreciation is what it feels like when you've hooked up with source and then you've added your thoughts that match the thoughts that source has to the mix so that you're really rolling and blowing and flowing with your inner being. Sometimes a person will get into the hot seat and they will ask us for a rampage of appreciation because they want to change the way they feel. And we don't do it under those conditions because our rampaging about someplace that they're not will only cause a greater tug of war in them. If you're not in the vicinity of alignment, then you don't want to really focus on it because whatever you focus on, more is going to be added to it. Yes?
You had mentioned satisfaction. What's the difference between satisfaction and appreciation?
Well, satisfaction is resonance with source. And technically, there's no great difference, but the way we were demonstrating it just then, and what is often the case, is satisfaction is resonance with source, where appreciation is that specific resonance focused towards something specific that you care about in your life. Satisfaction is more general. Appreciation is more specific. Therefore, satisfaction has less momentum, while appreciation has more momentum. So, if you've got a choice, and you always do, of whether to be in resonance with source or in resonance with something else, choose source if you can. And if you've got a choice, once you're in that resonance between feeling satisfied and passion, well, you know when you want to feel passion and when you want to feel satisfaction. In other words, if you were passionate in every moment, you would like it if you had that kind of control. But isn't there something comfortable about that range? We just don't think it's a good idea to move too often into that negative emotion, although there's benefit even in that. Just don't stay there. So you get to choose all of that. One of the things that we haven't said here today that really applies to what you're asking is that when you are in vibrational alignment with who you really are, and you have allowed your cork to float, the demonstration that we've offered through the years is imagine the water and imagine a cork bobbing on the surface. Hold the cork under the water. That's what negative emotion is. Let it go, like in meditation, and it will bob back to its natural place. So when you are aware that you are in that position of allowing your vibration to be in that high vibrational place. And the words that we've been offering here today are, you are in the allowing mode, or you are in the receiving mode. You are in the receptive mode, where your inner being is offering thoughts to you about your path of least resistance. And because you're in the receptive mode, you can receive them. And if you follow the impulse, then you get to witness it playing out. And then you really understand all the help you have from this broader guidance. So that's not just guidance, and it's not just receiving. It's also replenishing. Technically, you could, as you were talking, you could get into that appreciation mode and maintain it for a long period of time where the momentum really gets moving, and you'd know it because you'll be surrounded by other people that are feeling like you are. Life is unfolding for you in a really comfortable way. Surprising and delightful things are coming across your path many times in a day. There are big time rendezvous that are happening. Things that you've been looking for a while show up in your experience. Being in that place of strong, steady appreciation is really wonderful if you are balanced at that. But if you're still in the place where you're flip-flopping a little bit, we wouldn't rampage too much until you know you're steady. And you can feel the reason why, can't you? Yeah. Did we get there for you? Something else? Really good.